Hey, and welcome to another meal prep. Now, let me just tell you up front, this is a delicious, I ain't gonna lie to you, this is gonna be a delicious week of food. Very simple, but very delicious. For breakfast, I've made this many times. It is pound droppers, pumpkin spice French toast casserole. It is absolutely delicious. And if you watch my meal plan, you know that I said there is no time of year that pumpkin spice is not welcome at my house. I will eat pumpkin spice 365 days a year, 364 on leap. It is just that good. Now for lunch, I am trying a new recipe that I have had printed out for months, and I finally got around to trying it, and oh my gosh, am I glad I did. It is creamy cracked chicken soup. We like the cracked chicken in the Instant Pot. It's delicious. So when I saw the soup recipe, I thought, gotta try it. Well, I tasted it before I put it, divvied up. Oh my gosh. It is delicious. I cannot get over it. I found it on a website called diethood.com. I changed it up a little bit, and I halved it because it made 8 servings, and I didn't need 8 servings. Listen, it's so good, I would eat 8 servings. Now, listen, the points on it are high. Mine are 9 points, but all my ingredients are high test. That's what I call them. Full fat. I don't have anything reduced. No reduced cheese, no reduced half and half, and no reduced cream cheese. So if you use those, you can definitely get your points down. But those are the things that I had, and so those are the things that I wanted to use. Now, the next thing I did was, I have told y'all on several occasions, I am obsessed with Dish With These chocolate party cake loaf. It is 4 points for the whole loaf. I normally eat like half a loaf at a time. I mean, 2 points. And it's a good serving. It's like a big muffin, which you can also make it in muffin pans. I've done that before. What I did was I made 4 little servings of all the dry ingredients, like 4 little ready to go instant mixes, so that during the week, and I won't make all 4 of them this week because half at a time, so half one day, half the next. That's if I decide, I don't want to eat it 4 days a week. But maybe I do, I don't know. But I can for 2 points. So I decided to just make those up to make it easier, because there's a number of dry ingredients and I'm lazy. So now what I'm going to do for that recipe is, because like if I post this on Facebook, or if I post my recipes in my description box. I always post recipes in the description box. It'll take it in the description box, but if I post this on our Facebook group, there is something about Blogspot that Facebook thinks is spam, and it will not post her link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link it to my page with her link as the recipe. I'm not going to retype the recipe. That way, if you're coming from Facebook, then you can get to it easy without having to try to get the spaces together and the dots together and searching for it. I just thought maybe that would make it easier to get there. And then while you're there, look around at other stuff, which I realize if you're watching this, you probably already saw on Facebook and read my description of that, so maybe you can just ignore everything I just said, because if you're not on Facebook, then you're obviously going to get to her recipe. That was a useless conversation. So anyway, that is what I'm making. Now, I will say the one thing I do differently is, if I don't have bananas, which I'm not always guaranteed to have a banana ready to bake, I use 1/3 cup of pumpkin in mine, because I always have pumpkin in the cabinet, knock on wood. So that is it for the week. I hope you enjoy this. It is some good food. If you decide to try and make anything, let me know. Let me know about that soup if you make it. Oh yeah, let me know. I will be making that again. I'll be making that for supper, not just meal prep. So So, okay, well, that's all I got to say. And let's just go get cooking. And I will see you on my next video, which I'm probably sure I'm going to say, nope, I'm not going to say it because I've already filmed that and I didn't say it. Nope, I'm doing a voiceover, so maybe I will say it and I'll forget. There's another useless conversation. Please give this a thumbs up. Be generous. Okay, I will see you on my next video. To start our French toast casserole, we need to cube 12 slices of bread. I'm using Sara Lee Delightful multigrain bread. Put in a greased 9 by 13 dish. Then we're going to mix our wet ingredients. So I've already beat 8 eggs, and I'm going to do 1 cup of almond milk. But I'm just whisking in half at a time. I do put the whole cup in there. Then 1 tablespoon of melted light butter. Next is a half a cup of pumpkin, just the canned pumpkin. A quarter cup of sugar-free pancake syrup. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And in this bowl, it is 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a quarter teaspoon of salt. You can use brown sugar substitute, but I get the same points by using just regular brown sugar. And I think that was just a happy accident this time. Now we just need to pour it over the bread and use your spatula or your whisk or whatever and make sure to mash all the bread down in the egg mixture. I say get everybody in the pool. Now this is new Flavor God pumpkin spice seasoning. I've had it for a good 2 years and it doesn't go out until the summertime. So I thought, you know what? I need to start using it up. So this is totally optional. And I'm not adding any points for this because I don't think it has any. I'm not adding them at any rate. Now put this covered in the refrigerator for a half hour up to overnight. It has baked at 350 for, I think I did 40 full minutes, and you see how it's puffed up? That is fresh out of the oven. Next up, you'll see after it cools, see how it deflates and gets a little thicker. Now I'm cutting it into 6 servings, and they're good-sized servings. I'm going to scoop one out so you can see the texture of it. It's kind of like a bread pudding. It is very delicious. I would highly recommend you trying this if you like pumpkin spice. And here's my 6 servings for the week. Next up is our soup. The first thing I need to do is cook my chicken. I'm just doing it in the Instant Pot. I have, it's half a cup to a cup of water. And I seasoned my chicken really well with house seasoning. I think that made a difference in the final product. And I set it for 7 minutes. Let it release for 10 after that. Now I've drained the liquid off and just put them back in the pan, and I'm going to use my hand mixer to shred them. I know you've seen this before, but just in case, I thought I would show you. And you get perfectly shredded chicken. No hassle. I love that method. So for the soup, heat your pan before you put your bacon in there. At least that's what I do. If it's one of these, if it's non-stick, you don't really need to do that. But I hit just a little spray first, just so the bacon doesn't stick. And we're going to fry our bacon until it's good and crisp. We are going to take that cooked bacon out of this pan with a slotted spoon and keep that bacon fat in there. I chatted in with Weight Watchers way back, probably a couple years ago, to find out what do you do, how do you count that bacon grease. They told me it's calculated in the points for the bacon. They told Joan the same thing, so that's how we do it. I think if you add extra bacon grease, then count the points for it, because you're going to get points for the bacon or the grease. But do not, in my opinion, count it for both. That was a tablespoon of light butter. I just melted it down. This is about a small onion's worth. Is what I keep in the fridge. So we're going to stir that around a little bit. And the garlic, I use the minced in the jar because it's just easier for me that way. Just do 2 to 3 cloves, whatever you like. And we are going to cook that around until the onions are nice and tender. When the onions are ready, we're going to add our chicken stock. I have 3 cups. It's actually 2 cups of bone broth I had in the freezer and 1 cup of chicken bouillon. So use whatever combination you like of chicken broth, stock, bone broth, but 3 cups, and stir it around to loosen the brown bits off of the bottom. And to that, we're going to add our seasonings. We have a 1/4 teaspoon each of dried dill, dried chives, onion powder, garlic powder, and salt, and pepper to taste, and just stir that around. Now we're going to bring that to the boil and add in 1 cup of frozen corn. We're going to bring it back up to the boil and let it cook for 5 minutes to get that corn tender. Now here's the part that's going to take a while. This is 4 ounces of cream cheese, and I highly recommend cubing it because you're going to stir this for a good little bit to get it to melt and incorporate. I started with my little spatula. Oh yeah, I forgot. Half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese too. Don't forget the cheese. Then I stirred it and tried to break it up a little bit with my spatula. Ended up breaking out the whisk and pretty much whisked it the whole entire time just to make sure it didn't stick and to make sure that it melted. Now we're just going to add in all of our cooked chicken. I guess you could add how much ever you want, but I wanted mine very much full of protein, so I added the whole almost pound's worth. That's how much I cooked. I forgot to tell you. So just stir it in. Just heat it through. Turn your burner off. Add your bacon. Then 1/4 cup of half and half. You could use fat-free. You could use heavy cream, whatever. I wouldn't suggest milk because the cream part makes it creamy, makes the soup creamy. Here are my 4 portions. Those are 2-cup bowls, and you can see they're about 1 3/4 full. And I have a little cup of diced green onions to sprinkle on top when I serve it. Now jumping right on into these cheesy potato muffins. I have 3/4 cup of instant potato flakes in that big bowl. And I boiled 1 1/2 cups of, recipe calls for skim milk. When David bought it, he picked up 1%. But you know what? It didn't change the points. I'll tell you what did change the points. So we want to add the boiled milk. I'll get to it in a minute. I don't know what I'm over there doing. I'm doing something. So just add that to your potatoes and mix it around. Go ahead. There we go. Just stir it around to get everything moistened. Then we are going to let it sit for 2 minutes. After the 2 minutes, fluff it with a fork just to get everything really mixed, to make sure you don't have any dry pockets of taters. Then add 1 egg, and using your fork, blend it in completely smooth into the mashed taters. Now here's where my points went from 3 per muffin to 4. I thought I had some fat-free mozzarella left over from, I don't know, a very long time ago in the freezer, and I didn't. So I had to use all part skim mozzarella. So it took the muffins up 1 point, but I'm okay with that. So we just want to stir in the cheese until it is well incorporated. In a separate smaller bowl, we have 1 1/2 cups of Bisquick. To that, I'm adding a tablespoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of dried parsley, a teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to whisk that in until it's mixed in pretty good before I add it to the tater mixture. And now that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to fold that in. And we do not want to overmix it, just enough to make sure that all the dry ingredients are wet, and we just have a really nice soft dough. We're not going to overwork it. Now we'll take a sprayed muffin pan, and I'm just using my big cookie scoop, and I'm giving each one a big scoop, and I had a little bit left over, so I ended up going back and adding a little bit more to some of the smaller ones. These will bake at 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. Mine were ready in 20 minutes, so I would check it the first time at 20 and then go from there. Here I am trying to hold my phone and the muffins at the same time, just for the ease of not messing with the tripod, and I don't know if it would just have been easier, but we got them out. You see, they didn't stick at all. I think that cheese is what browned them on the bottom too, but the smell was outrageous. So I'm going to taste them right here in just a second and let you see what the insides look like. I think it's kind of hard to see maybe in the light how fluffy and moist the muffin is. Now, I ate it while it was still pretty warm, and I think once it cools off and gets to room temperature, it will have more of a flavor. I think it could use more salt personally, and the garlic would be up to you. It is very garlicky. I think it will be delicious with spaghetti. So garlic, I'll say, is optional, but I think they turned out really good, and I think they're going to be excellent with my soup. The final thing I made today are these little containers of Dish with These chocolate party cake loaf. I'm making my own instant mixes, so they're ready to go. I started with a 1/4 cup of flour and then a 1/4 cup of monk fruit, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and I'm putting this in each one, a dash of salt, 1 teaspoon of instant coffee. That just brings out the chocolate flavor. 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, whatever kind of cocoa powder you like. Then a tablespoon of sprinkles. Now to make these, just add your wet ingredients and bake them. I add some chocolate sprinkles and colored sprinkles to the top. And P.S., I don't count them. I just don't. So that is my week. I hope you have a successful week, and I will see you on my next video.